Hello and welcome back to the GameShow Global Esports Cup here on GameShow_D2EN. This is game number 2, Void Boys versus Not Today. And we're going to already see the effects of game number 1 shown in the draft here. Slaughter is going to be banned out by Not Today. I think Slaughter in general works very well for a lot of these American teams. When they're ahead, they're incredibly potent. The skill level and just the execution when they're able to start the fights on their own terms is on the money, but it kind of feels like when they're behind, it's so very difficult to get an edge and so very difficult to come back into it. These teams are not accustomed to playing from behind, or at least it kind of feels that way. Maybe I'm getting a poor read on it, but at the very least, last game went very well for Void Boys. They had the Slaughter, they had the Tusk, they had ways to start the fights, and Not Today were very invested into this big teamfight wombo combo that never really happened. They had the ability to take that game, but Void Boy's positioning was just on point, and there wasn't any major openings for them to get that huge non-stop combo where you just have the RP, the vacuum, the Winter's Curse, the everything, and they all melt. Now, for Not Today, we're going to pick up the Ancient Apparition and the Queen of Pain. A good amount of damage there that also denies away the Alchemist pick somewhat, and that might be one of the contributing factors into seeing this Ancient Apparition so early, but it's hardly ever a bad hero to have on your side, with so much emphasis being put on healing right about now in Dota, with your Winter Wyverns, your Dazzles, your Shadow Fiends with mech being so popular. Out of those three, Shadow Fiend has been banned. But now, Wind Ranger is going to be the selection for Void Boys. A hero that in their first series against Dalcom really did put a damper on things. Let's see how well they're able to use it. And I think they'll be able to use it quite well. The matchup, Wind Ranger versus Queen of Pain, seems to be pretty even, and most of the matchups for Wind Ranger seem to be just fine. There's hardly any that come to mind that Wind Ranger loses, and even then she doesn't lose them by that much. Beastmaster is going to be banned out by Void Boys. Slaughter Broodmother by Not Today, as a lot of emphasis is being put onto this offlane. Nightstalker still available inside the pool would be a reasonable selection for either team, but Void Boys now are the ones that are charged with trying to consider what Not Today are going to pick up. It really is kind of hard to settle on this ban. There are so many different things that it could be, and they're going to ban out the Ember Spirit. Oh, fair enough. Ember Spirit is an incredibly potent carry to put in your safe lane, and Anti-Mage will be the ban from Not Today. Now that is a little bit more on the interesting side. Looks like Not Today kind of want to greed it up. Or maybe just pick a really in-heavy hero that would get shut down by that Mana Void. Ancient Apparition and Queen of Pain are by no means bad Mana Void targets. But usually Anti-Mage isn't enough to convince you not to pick up the AA in Queen of Pain. Spirit Breaker will be the selection for Not Today, another one of those tanky offlaners that has managed to slip his way through the pool. Something that Not Today are very partial to picking up, and already a global sub-theme is starting to arise in their draft, with the Ancient Apparition and Spirit Breaker offering a lot in that respect now. The Queen of Pain also no slouch when you're going for these global strategies, with just the nature of how long range she can contribute in to the fights. Blink-In, Sonic Wave has such an absurd reach onto the Void Boys heroes. Now what's it going to be for Void Boys? Tusk and Wind Ranger is so open-ended. Wind Ranger probably going mid, Tusk probably as a support, maybe offlane. But they don't say anything about what you're trying to do with your draft. They're very good at getting pickoffs, and that's where they usually shine the best, but they're no slouches in team fights either, especially if you land a good shackle. And defensive snowballs are going to be always relevant, a factor inside team fights. Nightstalker will be selected for Void Boys, bumping Tusk into that support role probably, and will secure Void Boys a very terrifying offlaner if you can get the Aghanim Scepter at a good timing window. It's so hard for Not Today to find fights on their own side, even with the long range of initiation. Nightstalker's vision is not something that anybody wants to be fighting into. Not only will you be able to secure vision inside the team fights, but you're able to deny wards off of the map, and the wards that the few wards that you do have on the map are going to be very limited in their effect, with the darkness being applied by Nightstalker so very liberally down the line. Ancient Apparition kind of wants to be a little bit farther away from the team, wants to sit back, get a little bit of farm while everybody's fighting, where you contribute just by throwing out those ice blasts. Void Boys have a team that's pretty good at punishing that. With the Tusk, Wind Ranger, Night Stalker, individually, each one of these heroes could kill off an Ancient Apparition if they're far enough ahead. Granted, you have to worry about TP rotations. And not today, even without TPs, are very fast to respond with the Spirit Breaker and Queen of Pain. Excuse the yawn, sorry about that, guys. But it is still going to be something to keep in mind. It might reduce Ancient Apparition's effectiveness this game. Not today's next pick. Could be a Gyrocopter. Could be anything, really. They'll want some sort of setup stun to get benefit from the Ancient Apparition's cold feet this game, I'd expect. And ranged heroes will be held at a premium. But even without ranged heroes to benefit from the chilling effect, maybe they're going to put their faith in the Slark from last game. Slark still could have difficulty this time around. It might be a little too early to be suggesting that. And not today, we'll probably just snag another one of their supports. It's really hard to think of a support that's going to be awesome here, but they're going to go for a Sand King. Oh, very interesting. Sand King Ancient Apparition is a combination that has a mass amount of burst magical damage. If you're able to line that up inside the fight, the dream is definitely there. And I like the fact that Not Today are picking up this initiating hero that can still be played in an aggressive capacity. At worst case scenario, it's an AoE stun for Not Today. Burrow Strike is such an amazing ability, and if you get a Blink Dagger, it makes your initiation range obscene. Not Today are going to be very tempo-based. If they're able to get a couple of early kills, or even just avoid getting killed early enough so they can get the Sand King, the Blink Dagger up and running, they'll be going from lane to lane, across the map, and constricting Void Boy's space to farm. Now, how did Void Boys stop that from happening? Now, one of the ways is just to group up as a team. Another way is to have safe lane farm that can still contribute even if a lot of the farming space is removed from them. And maybe we'll see Gyrocopter again. It's a hero that we're very used to seeing at this point, but is still just that good. Dazzle's available in the pool, and surprisingly enough, so is Winter Wyvern. But are those heroes going to be that great against Not Today's lineup? I'm tempted to say no. The lockdown you get from a Dazzle and Winter Wyvern is slim to none. Winter Wyvern has the Winter's Curse, which is granted amazing, but I think Void Boys will be much better off with this Disruptor. Glimpse is a great tool against the Spirit Breaker and against the Queen of Pain too, and in general good against the style of initiations that Not Today are going to be going for, but also just having an instant silence inside these fights and a big barrier is going to be really good for Void Boys. If this Disruptor gets behind, could it end up being a bit of a liability for VP? If the Queen of Pain is able to just jump on, destroy the Disruptor before it's able to get off any of the spells, could be unfortunate for Disruptor. If you don't have vision prior to the Spirit Breaker getting close to you, catching the glimpse on the Spirit Breaker can prove to be a difficulty if you just get chain bashed or locked down with the Nether Striker if somebody else is there. Still, I like it because of how aggressive it'll allow the Night Stalker and Tusk to play. If you're able to chase back Not Today, the Glimpse is going to be an amazing tool for them, and I kind of already touched on Stack Storm being awesome inside the fights, which it is. Alchemist will be the last ban from Void Boys, with Ancient Apparition already selected by Not Today. Could have been a hero that Void Boys would have struggled to punish with their lack of consistent damage early. They have a good amount of damage, but it's not necessarily bursty enough to deal with an Alch. And their supports... Tusk is good at rotating, but Disruptor maybe not so much, and Tusk will need more levels before he's able to kill off the Alchemist convincingly. Wind Ranger, as we've seen, isn't the greatest mid laner to back up after those early rotations. She kind of wants to have level 7 to 8 before she starts getting really active at rotating around. Not Today? Probably a safe lane farmer for them. I might even like an unconventional safe lane farmer, like a Death Prophet could be interesting here for Not Today if they really want to just hammer down the aggression and keep that momentum rolling. Might be a bit risky and probably is unconventional. Instead, it's going to be a Juggernaut. Yeah, I think this is a much better way about it. The Death Prophet I was mentioning earlier is still a bit weak, I'd say, as far as heroes are concerned. Death Prophet's heydays are far from over, and the aggression from Void Boys might stop her from being able to get off the ground and get that exorcism to be able to capitalize off of the fights that Not Today are making. Juggernaut will still be able to give you that pushing power without sacrificing early fight. With the spin on top of an Ice Vortex. That combo in and of itself is usually enough to chase down heroes like the Night Stalker. Although with the Night Stalker accompanied by the Tusk, Void Boys should be able to escape in that scenario. The lockdown from Not Today's tri-lane is pretty weak, and Sand King doesn't want to be there all the time, will much rather be inside the woods. But oh, speaking of heroes that want to be in the woods, Void Boys go for the Lycan. Lycan is always on the edge of being a really awesome hero. He can capitalize off of early fights so very well into transitioning into towers if you're ahead. Void Boys have a lineup that kind of needs to get early advantage and maintain that in order to stay comfortable inside this game. If Void Boys ever fall behind, the Lycan could just be a liability. The Disruptor might just be a walking static storm. Night Stalker could hit like a kitten, and Tusk also won't be able to get those kills. If they're ahead, they're in a great spot. If they're behind, not so much. Let's see if Void Boys are able to accomplish that. Patzel will be farming on the Lycanthrope. Another advantage of having the Lycan on our team is it's going to free up a little bit of lane space for your supports. If you choose to do so, Lycan can farm jungle very effectively. And no other hero on the side of Void Boys is going to be able to make use of that farm, so that's something that I'd like to see VB do. Especially considering the fact that Not Today are also going to be bunkered down inside their woods with Schofield on the Sand King. He'll be scuttling along, second camps, wants to sandstorm those down. We'll give a little bit of space to get those early levels on the Tuscan. I think Void Boys have a very good draft. I like the idea a lot in general, but it is very momentum based. Similarly for Not Today, they also have a team that's going to be very tied down to its timing windows. For Void Boys, it's going to be about the nighttime and about whether or not the lanes go well. For Not Today, it's about whether or not they get the Blink Dagger on the Sand King good timing window and are able to consistently get kills with the Epicenter and Sonic Wave, which have fairly long cooldowns. Sentry Ward going to be placed down by the Disruptor. I think that still blocks, although it is going to be just on the edge if it does. Usually the one that's placed inside this crevice is a little bit further to the left, but I think they're just fine. We'll see in a bit, but yeah. I mean, Mike touched on earlier that spawn box is huge, but now level 1 skirmish might be breaking out. Chilling touch on 4 heroes. Not Today, if they can stick onto a target, would be able to get kills, but sticking on that target's another story altogether. They'll throw out the ice shards and Void Boys will retreat. Boundary Rune will be secured by the Queen of Pain in bottom lane. That's normal stuff, but Void Boys Wind Ranger is not going to have her bounty. What she is going to have is a little bit of a better block. How much better of a block, though? Reasonably well. That might mitigate the impact of this boundary, and even with the 100 Golden Hunter experience, Queen of Pain is probably not going to be take over this lane, as it should be fairly even otherwise. And the Lycanthrope does get the bounty. It's not like Void Boys lost both of those runes. Lycan already went for Hal level 1. Maybe expecting the level 1 fight? I don't think it's going to hurt him at all, as the Disruptor just goes and zones out the Spirit Breaker. As tanky as Spirit Breaker is, it doesn't really matter. He's still a clunky melee hero that can't stop the Lycanthrope from farming. And with a little bit of extra Howl damage, that is something to keep in mind inside this laning stage. I'm pretty sure that Howl in mid was thrown for the Wind Ranger to get a couple of CS, but across the board, it is something to keep in mind as a global tool for Void Boys to help out their other lanes. The Night Stalker and Tusk right now won't be able to get kills, I'd expect, although this Juggernaut doesn't have a spin. He's already used it, so the Tusk is going to post up. No level 2, though, and with Chilling Touch, they do need to respect this Juggernaut, and will do so. Wind Ranger in mid, getting pretty messed up. We'll be able to salve up, pretty effective usage of that salve, and Queen of Pain will probably have to do the same in just a bit. A couple more arrows, and that'll be all she wrote. The experience advantage is really what that Boundary Rune is going to help out most here. It offers the Queen of Pain the second point in Dagger before the second point Power Shot comes out for snaking. A slow start to this early game. There is killing potential across the board, mostly in this bottom lane though, and nobody's making huge errors. This lane is pushing in drastically in favor of Void Boys. This is going to give a lot of experience to their off-lane Night Stalkers. Ooh, Spirit Breaker gets a bash on the Disruptor. Glimpse away. Spirit Breaker probably won't get this kill, but we'll have to find out. Charge forward. He probably needs another bash. He doesn't have the Orb of Venom, but this Disruptor also has no boots. Nobody's helping him. April, are you just going to die? How good are your jukes around the trees? The Disruptor running around the mulberry bush. And the Spirit Breaker isn't able to get the bash. So, this little weasel is going to be able to get out just fine. Void Boys, are not going to get first blood. This Wind Ranger is still CSing well against the Queen of Pain, but is sustaining a lot of harass. Rotating onto this Wind Ranger under normal circumstances would be pretty reliable, but with Wind Run, I'm not sure if they're able to get this kill. Spiritbreaker's going to try. They're going for the dive. Cristiano does not have a lot of mana. In fact, not enough for both Dagger and the Blink. They'll blink aggressively. The Wind Run is still active. One attack from Spiritbreaker is going to connect, but DDX with the power shot, and the tower shot is going to go down. At the same time, Snaking will die. But that was not how Not Today envisioned that dive going. Queen of Pain's still not going to be heartbroken about the Wind Ranger getting that kill. Still, Wind Ranger buys the bottle before dying, and is going to be able to do well inside this lane, but it's not as crushing as it could have been. That was supposed to be Not Today's first blood, and they tried so hard to get it, but sometimes you just tank too many tower shots. It happens. Nightstalker's level 3, pushing level 4. Early levels on this hero could allow them to get aggressive, but Cold Feet going to be dropped, not going to proc onto a Mega Poner. He's fine. Has the Salve 2 and a Tusk in backup. Level 2 Tusk plus the Nightstalker, if they isolate the Ancient Apparition, could very easily get a kill on Phantom Swain if the Ancient Apparition doesn't have backup. Right now is kind of an awkward time for Schofield, only level 1 of the Sand King. You need more on this SK if you're going to be able to contribute. And even though the Sand King is able to find level 2 from this camp, Schofield's going to get a couple of his creeps stolen by the Tusk. One of them will still go his way, but Tusk also soaking that experience is a general nuisance for him. And now Tusk also can block this camp or go for the kill aggressively. There's no mana unless he pops the mango. Schofield's going to try to pop the mango to get the burrow strike. Is inside the trees, salving up. Nightstalker, how do you see the Sand King there? They know he's there. Ice Shards will give them vision. Nightstalker can't get that kill. He can't reach over the trees. Omega Poner will run away. I have no idea how Schofield was hit. And now he's going to pop outside. Here's Omega Poner with the Void. Schofield will die to the Snowball. And maybe that Snowball also buys Tusk enough space to get out of here. Not with the charge. DDX still stuck in the trees, though. That's a bit awkward. With no mana to get out of there. Yeah, it could be in a lot of trouble. And here's Phantom Swain getting bashed down, power shot from long range. They'll be able to tango through the trees. The Shackle is not going to latch onto anything. What's flying towards DDX? The spin from the Juggernaut is going to come out in time. Omega Poner taking a lot of damage from the spin, but one more auto attack secures staking the double. In this bottom lane rotation, it's not over yet. Here comes Cristiano. Everybody in the bottom lane except for the Lycan. They'll bring down the Nightstalker towards the north. Queen of Pain's able to scream that down. The right clicks to Schofield, the power shot. Schofield's able to jump into the Sandstorm. Snowball kills off the Sand King. Cristiano's in not a good spot. Now Shackle down. The DD, Wind Ranger, is going to right click her down. Power shot secures the killing spree. Nicely done. Ooh, that was slick. And now DDX is under the tower. Has mana for one charge, but they're keeping on going. This double damage is getting so much value. 4-1-1, and Snaking, similar to the last game, is getting so much in these early fights. The double damage finally expires, and they don't have enough mana, but here comes Omega Poner, who also wants a piece of it. Nightstalker has the mango if they kept the Wind Ranger around, but it looks like Omega Poner is going to be repelled. 6-3, the real winner here is the Lycanthrope, who is left completely alone to free farm it up in the top lane. Top of the net worth, gets his tower too, and it looks like he's going to have his Vide shortly. And what's stopping him here? Go for the tier 2. Ancient Apparition has terrible wave clear, and it's one of the biggest weaknesses of Not Today's draft, which is making me like this Lycan pick more and more as this game goes on. Tier 2 tower is not going to outright die to this creep wave, I don't think, but they have 4 ranged creeps. Maybe. Here comes Queen of Pain. And that's going to be the appropriate wave clear to pull them off of this tower. But it also forces out the Queen's rotation, whereas you compare the Queen to the Wind Ranger. Wind Ranger's going to be able to get a little bit of farm in mid, unpressured. Oh, Nightstalker again going to really harm this Juggernaut. A lot of damage thrown his way. Not enough to kill him. But forcing out the spin in and of itself is a pretty big victory for the Nightstalker and gives him a big window where he's able to do just that and casually throw out a couple of voids. 3 points up into it, it's a very substantial nuke. Void Boy's first nighttime usually isn't that trigger to go so aggressively, but this game it was, where they're able to consistently find the fight and Wind Ranger was never in any real pressure. Queen of Pain going to resume mid as the game has slowed down to almost a crawl. But Void Boys have this slight early advantage that I was talking about. A 4,000 net worth lead and a 2,000 experience lead. That net worth advantage is actually a lot more significant than I thought it would be. And a lot of it's in the hands of the supports. This Ancient Apparition doesn't even have boots. Poor guy. Sand King is going to be collapsed upon by the Nightstalker and Tusk. The Spirit Breaker is around the corner, but killing off these targets is almost impossible. Queen of Pain's a little too far to the left, unless Omega Poner and the Tusk stick around too long. Tusk's salved up, he's ready to go. He's going to throw out Ice Shards, but doesn't find anybody. The Schofield Sand King's down towards the south, level 4, but he's going to get stolen upon silence. There is no way out for Schofield, and he's going to go down. Actually, it's not a Vlad's for this Lycanthrope. It's a Midas. Why not? I guess. Lycanthrope gets a lot of benefit from having higher levels to get the maxed out Howl, to get the maxed out Feral Impulse. In general, if you can get a Midas this early on any hero, why not? But oh, Wind Ranger gets a kill on the Queen of Pain in the mid lane. They get the glimpse back, and the Disruptor is going to be fine. Wind Ranger's not necessarily done yet. Has the Void from Mega Poner, and they're going to be able to kill off another. There's a Burst Strike onto the Tusk tanking Creep Wave, but still not in any pressure here, because the allies aren't there yet. Smoked up, they can't get the vision off these creeps for the charge, and the Tusk is going to be able to survive because of it, I think. Wind Ranger gets the Tower Destruction in mid with the Illusion Runes. That is actually pretty impressive that she's able to get that CS on the tower. That is pretty hard to do. Hasted up, Wind Ranger might be able to turn aggressively again, but this first nighttime has been amazing for Void Boys, and it kind of pulls back into the Lycanthrope's Midas pickup. Even though I don't think Midas is the greatest way for Lycanthrope to translate into objectives, he doesn't need to because his team is doing so well right now. He's not needed. They're fighting 4v5 and they're doing well at it, and they're going to find another pickup, and this one's on the Jug. Focus Fire, and he's down. His only hope out of there was a Wild Wing Ripper deny, and that's not going to happen. They weren't fast enough. Aggroed by the power shot, there was no hope for this Jug, and Void Boys are getting so much momentum early. Again, it's a situation where I really like this aggressive playstyle for Void Boys, much better than what they were going for before they bring in Sekula on the Tusk for the second series. Not today, or forced to group up. The Sand King is, although not super underfarmed and does have some stacks to work with, I'm not sure if he can safely take those stacks, especially since the next time he's going to be around the corner will probably be during the next nighttime phase where Void Boys are really going to kick it up a notch in the aggression department. Nightstalker's going to go back for his own hand of Midas. This is a completely different Midas from that of the Lycanthrope. It's a Midas to secure Nightstalker the levels and farm even though he's fighting. Disruptor's gonna get blown up in top lane. Sonic Wave to very easily secure that kill. But yeah, if they're able to secure that Aghanim Scepter, it's huge. And Mega Poner and Tusk have made their home on the enemy side of the map. Not today are making the right rotation, pushing top lane. When your jungle is invaded, might as well go into the enemy woods. And this rotation from the Tusk and the Nightstalker is going to be spotted out by a very defensive ward placed out by Not Today. But it's a ward that they have to go for. Schofield is sandstorming it up in mid. Are they going to go for this, I wonder? They have no detection down on the ground. Do they have detection on either of these heroes? No. So killing off this Sand King is very difficult. They pop the Darkness. That instantly forces them away, and the Snowball is going to fly to Schofield. They have the Void. They have the Silence. Schofield will die. Even with the ward covering that rotation, they can't get it. But can they get the return kill onto the Tusk? Omni Slash, and you betcha they can. Without the Snowball, no defensive way to get out of there alive. 11-5 Void Boys still have a massive amount of momentum. And keep in mind, this Lycanthrope has been untouched and unpunished for the Midas pickup, as his Vlad's done at 10-20. Even without the Midas, he'd probably be content with his items at this point in the game. Not happy, but content. At least it's something to allow him to farm up. But he has the Midas on top of it, which means that he's going to be super fast, or quickly excelled inside this game. Queen of Pain's been forced to rotate so much that Cristiano isn't able to find that much farm. Unlike a Shadow Fiend, can't farm inside those side camps nearly as effectively. It's just not how the hero operates. You need to get kills, and Cristiano has been involved in 3, which is by no means bad. But it's also not comfortable for the Queen of Pain. And Juggernaut's farming space has been completely taken away from me. He has the Morbid Mask, which will help him farm up a little bit if he can find space to do that. This is the calm before the storm for Void Boys as we wait for that second nighttime phase to fall in just a minute. Lycanthrope will keep on farming. Right now he's farming Ancients, so that's a little bit awkward. Nothing to Midas, so a little bit of lost value coming up from Patzel. He'll be able to get out there eventually, and he's so fat. It's actually crazy how much farm the Wind Ranger and Lycanthrope are getting. The Wind Ranger is less than 1,000 gold from having her completed Aghanim Scepter, and Nightstalker is going to have his Midas at a very good timing too. Omega Poner, if he dies here, that is going to slow it down a lot, but just throwing out the Void, and Juggernaut can't convincingly take this fight. In fact, Omega Poner wants to go in here. Probably should think better of it, though. Very low, has 12 wand charges. Everything was under control, and now is going to earn up with his last remaining earned charge. You get back to serviceable amounts of HP. Disruptor looking in mid. Can he find the glimpse? Stag Storm's going to be dropped on the Creep Wave. That must have been a misclick. And now it might cost him. April is going to go down after being bro-struck by Schofield. That was a very interesting Stag Storm. I'm trying to see what that was for, and maybe I'm just missing something that in theory could have been awesome. But it ends up not being so. Shackle onto DDX. The Spear Pricker is very far away from us, the team. Good Sonic Wave. Omega Poner is going to be dropped to low amounts of HP, but not quite lethal as Earn charges and can sit on the backlines as the rest of the heroes from Not Today are just being overwhelmed. A Lycanthrope running at faster than haste movement speeds is going to be chasing down this Jug. Pops the Howl. They'll be able to Ice Shards wall him off, and Healing Order not. They're going to kill him. Double kill for your Lycanthrope, who already was so farmed. Void Boys are running away with this game so quickly. Not Today do not have the heroes. The Sanking Ancient Apparition are really the lacking factor for them. And it's not their fault, it's the heroes and how they function. Sanking wants to be able to get that Blink Dagger inside the woods, but that space is not being given to Schofield. And the Ancient Apparition wants to just get that level 6, and that's not happening either. Your Midas is flying out to the Night Stalker. Void Boys are taking these fights with hands of Midases. These are not Midases to secure them late game items, or, well, I mean, they are. But they're, what was I trying to say? They're not Midases that are being bought where they're on even footing, trying to get an edge. They're Midases that are being bought when they're already ahead to get even more ahead, is kind of the point I was trying to make. Schofield's going to bump into the enemy team. He's going to get scouted out. The vision advantage for the Night Stalker is terrifying. And now if we take a look at Radiant's vision, they have one ward placed out on the Ancients and one ward inside their woods, but these can hardly see anything. That vision circle is so tiny. So tiny. Night Stalker's going to walk right past it. Although he's going to walk right back into vision in the middle lane. Void Boys are forcing Not Today to group up as 4. They're trying to go for smokes. They're trying to get anything that they can, but right now, Void Boys are taking more shot. This Night Stalker is so hard to gank, even with smoke. If you pop your smoke on the Night Stalker, he sees you very swiftly, although maybe not fast enough. With the charge in, they'll get Omega Poner, and that's something. But at the cost of Roshan, Void Boys are okay with that. That is a huge commitment of time from Not Today. They have to make that move, though. If you're not smoking, you're probably just twiddling your thumbs under a tower somewhere. 7 to 15, Not Today need Void Boys to make mistakes, I think. First and foremost, they need to get this Blink Dagger on Schofield. If they have the Blink Dagger on the Sand King, maybe they can turn around a couple of these fights. But outside of that, they really just need Void Boys to get cocky, which might happen, but this Lycanthrope's going to have a Necro 3 super fast. He already has the Necrobook level 1 done on top of the Vlad's Midas. They have an Aegis on this Windranger who has their Aghanim Scepter done. The completed items just aren't flowing for Not Today. Your Queen of Pain will go towards her Ags, but she only has the point booster component of it. I don't think she has anything on the Courier, and I really don't think she's dropped anything on the floor. That's all you get, and all you have for the Juggernaut is a Morbid Mask. The towers are falling, the map space is being constricted, and Not Today are trying their best to go for trades. They'll look for that in the tier 2 tower top lane, but this game is looking almost over. Void Boys are one good fight away from just ending it outright. Schofield is spotted. Or is he? No, that's just Ice Shard. Sack Storm is going to cancel him out of that. And he's going to be blown up. They'll buy back on the Sand King. That's going to super delay his Blink Dagger. They need to stop this now, though. The tier 3 tower is falling. They do get that tier 2 tower top, but Void Boys are so in the lead. A Shackle latches, and Schofield's going to die back. Wicked sick for the Windranger. Snaking continues for this tower. The Ice Blast will connect. Even if you lose the Windranger's life now, it's an Aegis the Immortal. They might have to deal with this Juggernaut's push. He does have a sizable creep wave with 4 range creeps. And they are going to TP back the Tusk. Focus Fire is going to be thrown. The melee barracks are falling even faster. It's ridiculous how quickly they push. And this is the power of a Lycanthrope when you're ahead. When you're ahead, he's an amazing hero. How did that Shackle latch? That is a ridiculously long latch. And the Queen of Pain will die because of it. And I think Void Boys have just ended this game. Not Today do not have a team that can come back from Mega Creep or Super Creeps this early on. It's 16 minutes in the game, for Pete's sake. They have a Blink Dagger on their Tusk. The Disruptor's about to get a Glimmer Cape. Not Today aren't getting anything on their supports. Ancient Apparition has enough to get a point booster. Sand King's halfway towards that Blink, but that dieback means that Schofield's Blink Dagger is going to be so long and delayed that it's not going to be an item to get them a teamfight edge. It's going to be an item to maybe be able to kill off 1 or 2 heroes if they're alone. Because by the time they go up next, Windranger is going to have a Blink Dagger. She's going to be really hard to lock down. Her position can be very far back inside these fights. And everybody's just so tanky. They charge in mid. Disruptor is one of the few heroes they can go for, and they'll find him. Ice Blast secures the kill, and Ancient Apparition is going to secure 500 gold from just that pickup. And Ancient Apparition will go for the mech. This is not an item you want to be going for on Ancient Apparition, but it's something you kind of have to go for. You need some way to fight. And now Smokey Up, Not Today, are trying to claw their way back into this game. And maybe they can do it. It's such a long road back into it, though. They're going to charge forward onto the Tusk, stun him up. A secondary kill for them as the Queen of Pain is going to kill him. Void Boys, as long as they don't lose more than just a couple of supports here and there, they're fine. In fact, even losing more than a couple of supports is acceptable, but now they're going to stop this push. Not Today cannot take this convincingly. Nightmare, or excuse me, Nightstalker, who is their Nightmare right now, is going to jump onto this Juggernaut. The Shackle doesn't latch, but the Stagstorm stops him from getting off the spin. He's going to be dropped. Ice Blast will fly, connecting onto 2, or well, at least applying the debuff onto 2, but Power Shot, the catch vision on DDX as the Lycanthrope is just munching hero after hero. Kills off Schofield. Will kill off Venusaur in just a second, as he's going to be able to swipe him down with one more paw. The Spirit Breaker's left alone, can't charge out if they're alive, and Void Boys are right back into it. I mean, they were never out of it, don't get me wrong, but they lost a couple of supports. It looks like maybe Not Today could find something, but those hopes of finding something have been crushed mercilessly. The silver lining is the fact that Necrobooks aren't going to be alive very long for this high ground push. The bad part for this is that Not Today just aren't here quick enough, because with Hal, this tower is dropping like a rock. Void Boys are going to be able to take this out so fast. The synergy between the Howl and the Focus Fire is actually pretty high, especially when you have this Aghanim Scepter. And once you have the Midas on the excuse me, on the Lycanthrope, you're giving everybody in your team an extra 50 damage, which is crazy because you're getting those extra levels that you otherwise wouldn't be. Usually Lycanthrope at this point would only have 1 point in Howl and max out the Impulse, probably. They're going to Glimmer Cape up the Wind Ranger. It's so hard to bring down these targets. Nice Ice Blast and Sonic Wave combination. They need to be able to mop up these kills. Schofield is in the middle of it. He's going to get demolished. He gets the Burrow Strike. Maybe that's enough to kill off this Tusk. It's not even lethal. He doesn't shatter. A little bit more damage charged through. DDX gets that kill, but now Queen of Pain silenced on the sidelines. Lucky for the Queen of Pain that it's only daytime, but they call it GG. And Void Boys find their second game victory in 19 minutes. Maybe teams should consider picking up Lycanthrope more. It really is so powerful to be able to translate the early aggression and kills so convincingly. And in a game where Not Today don't have the wave clear from the supports, it's one of the perfect picks to punish it, and Void Boys execute it to perfection almost. Not Today weren't able to find any footing inside that game. Well played. Void Boys 2-0 victory are going to find 3 much needed points inside this group stage because they did lose that series against Dalcom, and it's against one of the biggest contenders inside the group, Not Today, who before here were undefeated. It is such a competitive group stage in the American region, and we'll be back more tomorrow with a couple more games from it. Thanks for tuning in to the Game Show channel, but for now, that is all. I've been GrandSV. If you like casting, you can follow me on Twitter at GrandSV, and I'll let you know when I'm going live. But if you follow this channel and just come back here tomorrow, we'll have more Game Show action coming your way soon. For now, goodbye. See you later.